right, so let's talk about all those bags out at the garden center. The fertilizer, the plant food, those little blue crystals you mix into the watering can. How much are you dropping on that stuff every year? $100? A couple hundred? Well, let you in on something. I haven't bought a single bag of that in, a long, long time now. And my tomato plants, they've never looked better because I make my own plant food. It cost me just about nothing. And by the time we're done here, you're going to be making it right alongside me. Now here's the part most folks never get told. Your dirt, that soil out in your garden bed, it's alive. I mean, really alive. There's bacteria down there, and these little white fungus threads and teeny critters you can't even see. There are millions of them in just one handful, and they are the ones doing the actual feeding of your plants. Not the fertilizer, not you, them. See, a plant root can't just eat a chunk of dirt. It needs those little bugs to chew things up first and hand it over in a form the root can use. That's how it works out in a forest where nobody's ever dumped a bag of anything. The leaves fall, the bugs break them down, and the trees grow like the dickens. Nature's been running that system a long time before any of us showed up. So what's that store-bought fertilizer doing then? Well, it kind of skips all that. It just dumps a bunch of salts right on top and forces the plant to slurp them up. And look, it works for a little bit. Your plant will green up, sure, but it doesn't build a thing underneath. The soil doesn't get any richer. The bugs don't get fed. It's like, okay, let me put it this way. It's like feeding a kid nothing but candy. You get a quick little burst, then you've got to give them more and more, and the whole time they're not getting any stronger. That's the fertilizer treadmill. And the companies selling it, well, they don't mind one bit if you're stuck on it. My granddad now, he never bought a bag of fertilizer in his whole life. Not one. And his vegetable garden would put any of these fancy raised bed setups to shame. He had tomatoes the size of softballs. I used to wonder how the heck he did it. I figured it was some old-timer secret he wasn't telling. Turns out it wasn't a secret at all. He just understood that you feed the soil and the soil feeds the plant. He had a barrel out back he was always stirring with an old broom handle. He didn't have a fancy name for it. He didn't have an air pump neither, but he knew. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to make. Only a little easier than the broom handle way. So what we're going to make instead is a brew, a microbrew. We're going to breed up a whole army of those good little bugs in a bucket and then pour them right back into your soil. You feed the bugs feed your plants. That's the whole trick, really. Folks have a fancy name for it. They call it compost tea or aerated compost tea. But don't let the name scare you. It's a bucket, some water, a scoop of compost, and a little air. That's it. And here's why this matters for your wallet. Because I know that's what got you watching. Think about what happens when you sprinkle that granular fertilizer down and then you run the garden hose over the bed. Where does it all go? A good chunk of it washes straight past the roots, down through the dirt, and right on out the bottom. Gone. You're paying good money to feed the groundwater. It drives me up the wall, it really does. My neighbor Earl, he buys 3 or 4 bags a season, waters it in real heavy, and then wonders why he's got to do it all over again next month. I keep telling him, but he doesn't listen. Anyway, where was I? Right. The brew doesn't wash away like that. Those microbes, they move into your soil, they set up shop right there in the root zone, and they stick around working long after the water's dried up. You're not just renting a quick green up. You're building something. Okay, so let's actually get into how you make this stuff. And the first thing, the most important thing, is your compost. This right here is the heart of the whole operation. Now, if you've got a compost pile going out back, that dark, crumbly stuff way down at the bottom, the finished compost that smells like a forest floor after a rain, that's your gold. That's where all your bugs live by the millions. So scoop some of that. No compost pile? No worries. Don't sweat it. Just go grab yourself a bag of worm castings from the garden center. Now, worm castings, that's a polite way of saying worm poop, but don't make a face. It is absolutely loaded with the good microbes. Even more than regular compost, some folks say. It'll cost you a few bucks, and one little bag will brew your batches all season long. So it's still about the cheapest plant food you'll ever buy. But listen close here because this part matters. You want good compost, real dark, real earthy smelling. If you stick your nose in it, and it smells sour or like ammonia or just kind of off, that compost isn't finished and it isn't going to do you much good. The brew is only ever going to be as good as the compost you start with. Garbage in, garbage out, like they say. Good rich compost makes a good rich brew. Simple as that. Now here's something people get wrong all the time, and it'll ruin your whole batch before you even start. The water. If you're on city water and you're filling that bucket straight from the kitchen tap, that water's got chlorine in it. And chlorine, well, its whole entire job is to kill little bugs. That's why it's in there, to keep your drinking water clean. But it doesn't know the difference between the bad bugs and our good ones. Pour our microbes into fresh chlorine water, and it'll wipe out the whole army before they ever get going. All that work for nothing. So what you do is real simple. Fill your 5-gallon bucket with tap water, and then you just let it sit overnight out in the open air. No lid. The chlorine, it bubbles off into the air all on its own. By morning, that water is ready. Now, and I've got to mention this, some towns these days use a thing called chloramine instead of plain chlorine, and that stubborn stuff doesn't bubble off near as easy. If your water's like that, you can grab a little bottle of dechlorinator, the same kind aquarium folks use. Costs near nothing. Or easiest thing of all, if you've got a rain barrel, just use rainwater. That's what I do. Rainwater is already perfect. No chlorine, nothing added, soft as can be. Plants love it. The good Lord already dechlorinated it for you, free of charge. All right, next thing you've got to do is feed the bugs while they're multiplying. And the food of choice is molasses, plain old unsulfured molasses. The kind you've got in the cupboard for baking, about a tablespoon, maybe 2, for the whole 5-gallon bucket. That's all. See that sugar in the molasses? It's like ringing the dinner bell. Those bacteria, they go absolutely to town on it, and they multiply like crazy. A couple of them become a whole population overnight. Now don't go thinking more is better and dumping the whole jar in. It isn't better, trust me on that one. Too much molasses and you feed them so fast they suck all the air out of the water, and then the brew goes sour and stinky on you. A tablespoon, maybe 2 if your bucket's real full. A good glug if you measure by eye like I do. Less is more with the molasses. Now where was I? Oh, right. The part that really makes the whole thing work. This is the bit the beginners always miss. Air. That's the secret. The good microbes we want, the ones that build healthy soil, they need oxygen to live and breathe and multiply. Same as you and me. But the bad microbes, the ones that make stuff go all rotten and slimy and smell like a swamp, those fellas, they're the ones that take over when there's no air. So the whole game here is keeping that bucket full of oxygen the entire time it's brewing. We want it bubbling like a hot tub, and you don't need anything fancy for this. So don't go spending, go grab yourself a little aquarium air pump, the cheap kind for a goldfish tank. 10, 12 bucks at most. And get one with an air stone on the end of the hose. That air stone's just a little porous rock that breaks the air up into a million tiny bubbles. Drop that air stone right down to the bottom of your bucket. Plug the pump in and let her rip. You'll see the whole thing churning and foaming. That moving water, all those bubbles, that is what keeps your brew sweet and alive instead of turning into a rotten mess. I'm telling you, the air is the whole ball game. Skip the pump and you've just made a bucket of stink. Okay, so now we put it all together. Finally, take your compost or your worm castings. A couple, 3 good handfuls. You don't have to be precise. And you want to put it inside something like a mesh bag so it doesn't just turn the whole bucket to mud. An old pillowcase works just dandy, or one of those paint strainer bags from the hardware store. Those are perfect. Scoop your compost in, tie it off at the top like a big old tea bag and drop it down in your bucket of chlorine-free water. Then add your spoonful of molasses, then drop in that air stone and get the pump bubbling away around it. And then you wait. That's the hard part for some of you, I know. A day, day and a half, 24 to 36 hours somewhere in there. While it's brewing, those microbes are waking up, eating that molasses and breeding up into the millions and millions. You can give the bag a little squeeze and a swish now and again if you walk by, help them wash out into the water, but mostly you just let it bubble and do its thing. Now here's how you know when it's done. And this is important. The smell. Go on, lean over and give it a good sniff. It ought to smell sweet, earthy, real pleasant, Kind of like the woods after a rain or like good fresh dirt. If it smells nice like that, you nailed it. That's a healthy brew full of the good stuff ready to go. But if you lean in and it smells rotten, like a swamp, like rotten eggs, something that makes you pull your head back quick, then something went wrong. You probably didn't get enough air. And listen, do not put that on your plants. A stinky brew is full of the bad bugs, and that'll do more harm than good. Just dump it out on the gravel somewhere, rinse your bucket, and start fresh. No shame in it. The nose knows. If it smells good, your plants will think so too. Now the fun part, putting it to work. And here's the thing you've got to remember. The second that pump shuts off, the clock's ticking. With no more air, those microbes start using up the oxygen that's left, and they start dying off after a few hours. So you want to use your brew fresh. Same day you shut the pump off, within a few hours ideally. This isn't something you make a big batch of and store in the shed. Make it, use it. That's the way. And there's two ways to use it depending on what you need. First way, pour it right at the base of your plants and soak the soil all around the roots. That's what we call a soil drench. Take a watering can full and just douse the ground around your tomato plants, your pepper seedlings, your roses, your squash, whatever you've got growing. You're sending that whole army of microbes right down to where the roots are. That's the main way I use it, and it's the most important one, because that's where the action is down in the soil. Second way, strain that brew real good through your mesh bag so there's no chunks. Pour it in a spray bottle or a pump sprayer, and you mist it right onto the leaves, top and bottom of the leaves both. We call that a foliar feed, and you want to do that early in the morning when it's cool and the sun's not beating down. The leaves drink a little of it in, and those good microbes, they sit right there on the leaf surface and crowd out the diseases that would want to grow there. Keeps your leaves cleaner. But mornings now, always mornings. Same as regular watering. You spray leaves in the heat of the day and you just scorch them. Mornings, I'll keep saying it till it sticks. Now, before I get to the honest part, let me save you some grief. There's a handful of little mistakes I see folks make their first time out, and every one of them is easy to dodge. First one, the biggest, they get lazy and skip the air pump. Figure they'll just stir the bucket with a stick now and then. Don't. Without that constant bubbling, it goes rotten on you, and you've wasted a whole day waiting. Second one, they brew it up nice on Saturday, and then don't get around to using it till Tuesday. By then, your microbes are long gone, dead in a bucket. Use it fresh, same day, or don't bother making it. Third, they pour it down on bone-dry, dusty soil in the middle of a hot afternoon. Then poor little bugs hit that dry, hot dirt and just shrivel right up. So give your beds a drink of plain water first, get them good and damp, then put the brew down. The microbes will settle in nice and happy. And fourth, well, the molasses again. Easy does it. Overfeed them and you get that swamp stink. Dodge those four little traps and you really can't mess this up. Now, I'm going to be straight with you here because I'm not in the business of selling you some miracle in a bucket. This brew, good as it isn't magic pixie dust. It works the best in soil you've already been taking care of. So you still got to put compost and good organic matter, leaves, grass clippings, that sort of thing, into your beds. You've got to feed your dirt, not just your plants. What the brew does is it wakes all that up and gets it cooking. Think of it less like a fertilizer you pour on top and more like, well, like adding yeast to bread dough. The flour is already there. The yeast just brings the whole thing to life and makes it rise. That's your microbe brew. It brings your soil to life. So you do that, a good soaking, every couple weeks while things are growing strong through the spring and the summer. And I'm telling you, you'll start to see it. Now, just about everything in the garden takes to it. Your heavy feeders, especially the tomatoes, the peppers, the squash, the cucumbers, they really perk up. Leafy greens love it. Roses, flowers, your potted plants on the porch, all of them. And you can't really overdo it neither. Not like with the chemical stuff where you can burn a plant right up. It's just soil life. So a little extra never hurt nobody. I usually start once the weather warms and the plants are really pushing growth. And I ease off come fall when everything's winding down for the year. Greener leaves, more blooms setting on. stronger roots holding the plant steady when a storm blows through, and tomatoes that actually taste like a tomato is supposed to taste, not like that watery stuff from the store. And let's just do the quick math on what this costs you, because that's the whole point of the thing. A bag of decent fertilizer at the garden center. What is it now? $15, $20, and you burn through a few of them a season. Now my brew, the compost, I make that for free out of kitchen scraps and yard leaves. The worm castings, if you buy a bag, that's a few bucks and it lasts you months. The molasses, pennies a batch. The water free out of the rain barrel. The air pump's a one-time thing, 10 bucks and it runs for years. So after that first little setup, you're feeding your whole garden all season for just about nothing. That's the part that tickles me. You'll have spent next to nothing. So let's run back through the whole thing real quick because I threw a fair bit at you. Good finished compost or a bag of worm castings. That's where your microbes come from. Water with no chlorine in it, so let your tap water sit out overnight or just use rainwater. A spoonful of molasses to feed the little fellas. An aquarium air pump with an air stone to keep that bucket bubbling for a day or so. Then you soak your roots with it or strain it and mist your leaves fresh in the morning, and you keep your soil fed with compost underneath it all. That's the whole shoot and match. A bucket of brown water that does what a whole shelf of expensive fertilizers has been promising you for years. Anyway, that's about it, really. The fertilizer companies sure aren't going to thank me for this one, but you might. Go on, give it a shot this weekend. Get yourself a bucket going. Your garden's going to thank you for it, I promise you that. I'll see you next. If this story of brewing your own garden gold has changed the way you look at the soil beneath your feet, please subscribe and like the video. We are digging deep into the secrets of the earth that the big companies have tried to keep hidden. Let's grow a better future together. The next garden treasure will be revealed very soon.